single day.
Does council want to make opening statements?
We do, I believe, Ms. Boyson has something there.
Oh,
I do have, just real briefly, I just want to make sure everybody knows that there's one camera recording only. So Special Magistrate Cox has already given us permission to have the one camera going, so if you do have your other cameras with you, please make sure they are turned off. Also, please make sure that your phones are off. It's very disruptive when they go off. As far as, we do have a motion, I believe you are a resident of Collier County.
yes.
When I looked through the rules, I have prepared a written motion that I'm presenting to everyone. If you look at the ordinances, specifically 1-2-101, it basically says that code enforcement or board must be a resident of Charlotte County. I have brought the appropriate statutes and ordinances as well, so that everybody will be on the same page. The Florida statute is 162.05, which discusses the local code enforcement laws and organizations. And in that Florida statute, it says specifically that the board members must be residents of the county in question. Where is the statute? Second paragraph. That is then followed up with an ordinance, which I'm going to pass out for everybody as well. It says specifically, wherever the term code enforcement board is used, special magistrate is deemed to be included. So that would mean that the magistrate would also have to be a resident of the county.
Council, what ordinance are we pointing to?
This is 1-2-101, and I have a copy of that as well. So at this time, I have drafted the motion to disqualify just based on residency,
Okay.
that you are not a resident of Charlotte County pursuant to the ordinance and statutes.
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
Reading subsection B3, creation and qualification of special magistrate.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to speak up a little.
Creation and qualification of the special magistrate. There is a creation of the position of special magistrate as permitted by Chapter 162. County attorney is authorized to select a special magistrate. The special magistrate shall be a member of the Florida Bar in good standing and shall have no less than 5 years practice experience. Where is the provision that you're discussing there?
If you look at B, there's B1, Code Enforcement Board and Special Magistrate, go down to C.
Okay, well, wherever the term code enforcement board is used in county codes and development regulations or ordinances.
I can't.
Sorry.
You
I'm
gotta-
allowed
you
for any measure there, I apologize. And for the camera.
Where are we?
Oh, we're on section 1-2-101. So you have the jurisdiction section for code enforcement and special magistrate. What he is referring to is section 3.
Section 3, creation and qualifications of special magistrate. Go ahead.
And the section that Ms. Boyson's referring to is subsection B1C, wherever the term code enforcement board is used in county codes, land development regulations, or other ordinances of the county, the term special magistrate shall be included.
Okay.
The county's position is that we would like to proceed. We're coming close to the 30-day deadline for an appeal. There would not be any time to appoint another special magistrate. And I do not believe that I believe these references were included in order to allow the special magistrate to serve as the enforcer throughout the land development code and other county code ordinances where appropriate.
Council, is it your position, I hear from both of you, that there's a separate ordinance that actually deals with these due process hearings for trespass? Is it your position that these provisions do not apply to that ordinance?
It is not the county's position that they do not apply.
And I gather it's your position that they do. Well, give me a minute to read them.
No, I apologize, I misunderstood your question. The county's position is that they are to be ranked.
In parliamentary, okay. And where is this prohibition about,
Look at statute 162.05, subsection 2.
okay,
Members of the enforcement board shall be residents of the municipality, and it talks about residents of the county and creation of the board. Then, based on population, you don't have to read all that section, you can create a magistrate or have a board, and your population makes a difference in the number of people on that.
okay. In 162.052 subsection 2, I don't see any language concerning special magistrates, just boards.
Correct. And then you go to the ordinance, and it talks about how special magistrate and the boards are basically synonymous. They mean the same thing, and everything applies.
Where are you pointing to, Council?
That's the ordinance, Code Enforcement Board 1-2-0101, subsection C. And I would agree that the county attorney's office does get to pick their special magistrate, but I would argue that person has to be a resident of the county.
Your Honor, I don't have a full copy of chapter 162, but I believe that part 2, alternative mechanisms for code enforcement proceedings, has similar language regarding the interchangeability of special magistrate with local code enforcement board or that statute, and that I'm unaware of any challenge to that, the ruling that does not allow special magistrate to be outside of the layperson board for residency.
Okay.
The layperson board for,
Residency. In other words, I believe there are other sections in chapter 162 that mirror the Charlotte County code language that are not present.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to deny the motion. I am denying it because I do not see explicit express language pertaining to special magistrates and residency requirements. And in the absence of something explicit like that, I don't want to postpone this hearing or risk everyone having to come back. I'm going to deny the motion. I am denying it because I do not see explicit express language pertaining to special magistrates and residency requirements. In the absence of something explicit like that, I don't want to postpone this hearing or risk everyone having to come back, and I think that we're going to proceed unless we have other preliminary issues.
That's it from us.
Okay. All right. So,
If you don't mind, Your Honor, I'd like to make my arguments seated.
fine.
I'm here on behalf of Charlotte County, seeking to uphold the county's trespass order against Mr. Sheets for a period not to exceed 1 year. Mr. Sheets was trespassed from the county's...
So,
If you don't mind, Your Honor, I'd like to make my arguments seated.
fine.
Easier if you can. I'm here on behalf of Charlotte County, seeking to uphold the county's trespass order against Mr. Sheets for a period not to exceed 1 year. Mr. Sheets was trespassed from the county's Murdoch Administration Center at 18500 Murdoch Circle, Port Charlotte, on November 1st, after engaging in disruptive, harassing behavior and interfering with employee and public access. Such behavior is prohibited under the county's facility rules, specifically Rule number 9 under prohibited conduct, which states disruptive, harassing, or unsafe behavior, including conduct which intentionally interferes with employees in the performance of their duties or intentionally interferes with the proper use of county facilities by others. I'd like to submit county's first exhibit A. I have a copy. Composite exhibit includes both the trespass ordinance 2016-027 along with copies of the appeal, the trespass order itself, and the county's older and updated county facility rules.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Exhibit A is exhibit.
Thank you. The county recognizes that there is a constitutional right to record certain public officials in public areas. Both state and federal courts have ruled that it is a limited right. In addition to its proprietary authority to promulgate rules for the usage of its facilities, the county relies on substantial case law in support of reasonable limits to First Amendment rights dependent on the spectrum of public properties and their use. In support of that argument, I would also like to submit for the record copies of a memorandum prepared by the county attorney's office detailing the constitutional grounds for the ordinance 2016-027. I believe it also includes some attachments, including the ordinance itself and facility rules. That would be county's composite exhibit number 2, B.
I would have to take a few minutes to review it before I can determine if I have an objection, because this is something I haven't seen.
Take as much time as you need. Go ahead and mark this as exhibit B for the record. So we'll have it. It's in there. Counsel, what is the purpose for which Exhibit B is being offered?
Just as a shorthand to understand the background of the ordinance, its application, and the rules regarding First Amendment expression on public property.
Well, she's considering that, I think we're in opening argument. Are we planning to admit other exhibits now, or you can?
The only other exhibit I have is the video.
And let's do that during your case.
Sure.
object to the memorandum because it's essentially a memorandum of law that's been drafted, but what Your Honor here today is what Your Honor is supposed to take into consideration as whether the trespass is legal or not. So I would say it's really a factual dispute. I understand that the county has taken the stance that it's more of a camera First Amendment dispute, but it's Your Honor's job to rule on what you believe is right based on the facts you hear today. So I would object to the memorandum and ask you to do that.
Are you agreeing to admit the remainder, which appears to be just a copy of the ordinance and its notifications, or is it just the memo that you're objecting to?
Just the memo.
I'm going to sustain the objection. The rest of it exhibits will be
Dispense with any arguments based on the memo
okay.
and try and shorten this up for everyone.
Well, how about if we hear from the respondent?
Okay.
You could let them, do you have an opening argument?
Just very brief one, yes.
Very good.
Your Honor, Mr. Sheets went to the Murdoch building to inquire of another incident. He does have a habit of recording where he goes in public places, does not violate those rules. He went in that day, he conducted his business at one window, then went up to the county attorney's office. When he comes down, there's a whole group of people in the lobby. He was trying to go about his business and they started coming up and interfering with him. They tried to escalate it, police officer arrived, they left. It's all on video. So that should make it very simple to see. He did not harass, he didn't have an intention to harass, he was not rude to anyone. He did not disrupt behavior, instead they stopped working and engaged him, that was their decision. As far as the blocking, it was the police officer who was standing in the door and they went there at his direction. And there is somebody that goes right by the police officer as he's standing in the door.
They went there, who's the they?
There were 4 people, 3 people with Mr. Sheets, 4 people in total.
Okay.
And again, you'll see it on the video. So he certainly did not disrupt, he did not harass, and he did not block anything. So we are asking that the trespass not be upheld.
So before we proceed, Counsel, I wonder if you could advise me on something that I'm having a little trouble with, and I'd like to know the answer or your thoughts to it before we proceed. And that is the legal standard that I am to apply here. And I'll just give you the benefit of my thoughts first, and then you can respond. It appears to me that this is a hearing that's being conducted according to what's been required of us by the 11th Federal Circuit Court of Appeal, that before a person's rights, including their right to come onto government property, can be deprived, there needs to be a due process hearings. Our Constitution protects rights, and the Constitution, rights we already have, and that Constitution then prescribes certain bases in which you can lose those rights. And due process is notice. We're all here, we all knew about it. Opportunity to be heard. We move this hearing so that counsel could be here, because the opportunity to be heard includes the opportunity to have counsel represent you. In due process hearings, the standard, because the Constitution says the right to liberty is not to be deprived except reasonably, which means probable cause. So we can put somebody in jail with probable cause. The probable cause standard is there's a basis in reason, not that I suspect, not that I'm guessing, not that I believe, but there's a basis in reason for making the decision. Probable cause is a pretty low standard. It just requires some basis. It's not even particularly clear that you have to have ironclad evidence. You just have to have a reasonable basis. You certainly don't have to have enough evidence to convict somebody. In quasi-judicial proceedings, the test is any competent substantial evidence to support the decision, which appears to me to be a slightly higher standard. You're going to have to put on some strong evidence. In civil proceedings, the legal standard is by a preponderance of all of the evidence. This, as I would, is not criminal procedure, but criminal procedures we have an even higher standard, beyond a reasonable doubt. It is beyond a reasonable doubt to me that the criminal standard does not apply. There's also a standard, clear and convincing evidence, which is not relevant here. But between the other standards, it's not perfectly clear to me which standard I should apply in this proceeding. So I'll hear from whomever would like to address that issue.
Your Honor, it's actually in the ordinance.
It is in the ordinance.
That you gave the exhibit, if you look at G, it says the county shall bear the burden of proof by a preponderance of the evidence that the trespass warning was properly issued pursuant to the criteria of the section.
And I would just add an addendum onto that, it is a quasi-judicial hearing, so competent substantial evidence is still the weight of the video, that is an informal proceeding. So far, we seem to be moving right along.
Okay, very good. So we're all agreed on the legal standard then. Good. And I guess I should read that, so will you please point to me where exactly that is?
It's the ordinance 2016-2027.
Of
For G.
what exhibit? Exhibit A?
Exhibit A.
Page 5?
Page 5, line 6.
Line 6. County shall bear the burden of proof by a preponderance of the evidence that the trespass warning was properly issued pursuant to the criteria of this section. Okay, so that's the legal standard we will be applying today. Thank you.
All right, we'll proceed. I think.
It timed out, yes, sir.
Sorry.
That's why I stay behind.
So we would like to introduce Exhibit C, which is Mr. Sheets' video of November 1st, downloaded directly from YouTube, where he published it.
Another building like this in the back, I guess. By the way, we gotta pay him back, man. Go down, Cape Code's got a lot of that crap, dude.
Yeah, now that I got it turned on. No, I'm not.
The cops break your arm, dude. It's in. One time they pulled me over, I didn't do anything wrong.
We'll get you an electronic copy so that you can have all the time you need to.
I have my own copy. I can give you this one if it
Okay.
becomes necessary.
You know, if you have that, I can put a blurb says the video was played. I'm just not gonna try to take down what it was all said, but if you've got the video, I don't know that you need it in the, but whatever you want.
I intend to make no commentary or argument during the playing of the video. It's played for itself.
Is there any objection to the admission of Exhibit C?
No, I'd like to have it part of the record. So that was.
Exhibit C will be admitted. Before we do anything else, I have to move because I can't see. And if you could, for the record, could you at least set this up a little bit? Like, who took it, when it was taken?
Well, I am assuming that it was Mr. Sheets who took the video. I could ask Officer Deputy Sterling, I apologize, to lay some foundation for it since he was present.
I think, yeah, we need to have.
But if we could stipulate to the fact that it was.
I would stipulate because if he doesn't put it in there.
Okay, all right, so what is it exactly that we're stipulating to?
That this is the video of Mr. Sheets and the 3 other individuals that went into the Murdoch building on November 1st, and this is the entire thing that happened the entire time they were in that building. You'll see all the contact with other people. This specific camera is the one Mr. Sheets had on him.
Correct, there doesn't appear to be any editing or anything else, and it goes from start to finish.
For the record, counsel, you're okay with
I
that
am.
stipulation? So, with that,
Ready? Okay, gentlemen, please.
They took the dogs? I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god, he's scuba? Dude. Right. Right.
I'll plant something on you if I have to.
Ooh, that's bad.
Opposite side of town after that.
That's bad.
And she's straight up live and right behind it.
Wow.
Plant runs on me, so keep it wet.
What?
So, yeah, those big ball tops are out of control.
That's sad, man.
That's why I was like hesitant to
Right.
go out around there. But yeah, as soon as I saw like the video where
Right.
posted about this morning, I was like, oh, I'm definitely going for that. And then I saw everything doing like this.
Yeah, that
This is
was
crazy.
Yeah.
Real out of
way out of hand. Wow, is there a Christmas tree? Is there a Christmas tree?
No, pine. Pine?
It does. You don't smell
You
it?
don't smell it?
Oh,
I don't smell it, so.
no kidding.
You're so long.
Wow. So this is at noon.
Or antelope.
Okay, don't go in there.
Wow, she's helping you.
So here it is, Paul Stamulus, right there.
Nope. That's my heart. All right, thanks. All right then. Bye-bye.
Why is it candy free?
Can I help you?
Is Paul Stamulus in?
No, he's in front of GORDA.
This
He's
is
there.
crazy. We were just there.
He's in
What's
the
going
Kevin C.
on?
board. He's in the Kevin C. board meeting.
What's?
Can we double check?
I know. Unless they're playing games, we were just there. That's why we came here.
Not for the, Anna.
Is
Anna Lopez.
Anna Lopez still working here?
Yeah.
Where's she at?
The warehouse?
Uh,
Okay. All right. That's nice. You got a warehouse. I did not know that. Yes, I'm gonna get some of this.
Take it all.
Thank you.
Take it all.
I didn't eat lunch, man.
Hi. Is Paul in the Kevin C. board meeting? All right. Okay. Because I have the question. They were down there and then they came up here. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Okay. This is Ruth. Sorry.
So Anna Lopez works at the
Ah.
warehouse?
Well, she's our warehouse supervisor.
Oh, okay. Does she have the power to trespass people? Oh,
So I was the one that she trespassed Saturday illegally, and we're trying to find her because I'm gonna file a lawsuit, and we need information, and nobody can tell us where she is.
I don't know. I mean, I'm
Right,
here.
right.
They're all down there. I just called to see if you.
Where's the warehouse? Yeah, that's a good question. What do you have a warehouse for? For all the equipment? All right. Where's the warehouse then? Oh, dude, this is crazy. Okay, Airport Road and what? Perfect, right? You guys got all day, I don't, but there you go.
I
Yeah.
don't know about driving out to Airport Road, but, I mean, I'd like to see her, man. Apparently she has a lot of authority. She controls the library now, and she can trespass.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of our polling stations, but I have no idea what's going on, what
Right.
you're talking about. I'm here in Murdoch and.
Right.
I've been here
Do you want to show her the picture? You didn't see the videos
Oh,
yet?
yes, and then we're trying to identify several brown shirts.
We're trying to identify some of the poll workers that illegally were telling us that we couldn't record. If we show you the, if we show,
I'm not in charge of poll workers, so I wouldn't know that.
so you would,
I'm retired from here since 2013, and then I come back just to help elections and this.
oh, So if we show you a picture, can you see if you know any of them? Yeah, that guy is.
Take your time, man. Then when you recognize, just point out.
These are probably numbers, right?
Is that what they call them? Is that why they're wearing the little fake badge thing? What's okay? The deputy does what and has what power?
Prohibits the press, which is the statute, the statute prohibiting the polling place taking pictures and photos.
So you cannot inside the room where the machines are. You can't go in. Correct, and we know that. We didn't do that.
You're right, yeah, I'm right. I don't know what they're talking about.
All right. So what?
What are you gonna do if she wasn't okay?
Okay, all right. I'll do a sunshine law request. Let's get the lawyers up. Okay, how about 5th floor? Let's try. Yeah. Is she calling the cops? We're lost.
You can tell if you get
Yes, ma'am. I need to see Anna Lopez
Do you know who she is?
and Paul Stimulus.
Yeah, she illegally trespassed me Saturday. I was doing a story at the polling station in Big County Library, and she illegally trespassed me.
He's in Punta Gorda.
I never even heard of, I don't even Ralph.
Wow.
I know, I'm telling the truth.
Right.
I know her name.
Right.
She worked with me.
Okay, that's Tanya.
Yeah, right.
There you go. Okay. The lawyers are upstairs then? Oh, okay.
You're just,
Are you happy?
No,
I don't.
All right, let's
I'm
go.
going there to see you.
Wow. Oh, yep, you're busted.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Are they calling on me?
Uh-oh.
They're calling, he picked the phone up.
shirt, ma'am.
Oh, Grateful Dead.
Oh,
Yeah, from Cincinnati.
There we go.
Good stuff.
This is,
What did you do wrong down there?
I don't know, dude, they just called for nothing.
Wow.
That's why I told her, I said, what do you call cops for?
Just now.
Yeah.
You know, lady, then the rest is like, I'll call the cops. And I'm like, well, you don't call cops over every fucking thing, dude. Quit doing that.
I don't feel free. Did you grew up when we used to be free, right?
Well, I thought so, but no.
Yeah, not anymore. It's gone. It's like, wow.
They're still doing what they did back then, just, we got cameras.
Ooh, good point.
The honor the person who-
Right.
And
They're
there's a
rare.
lot more that
That was
don't.
back then,
Yeah, that's very rare.
but, you know, what's his name, what's his name, oh, like,
Obama.
no, yeah, him too. Another one that beat up in Los Angeles, oh,
Oh, yes, that was bad.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am. This is
Yes.
a group of concerned citizens to speak with the county attorneys, please.
I don't know if that was right.
Is there another attorney who can speak to that?
See, you should have said it.
It's hard to get anybody. They are high.
Well, why don't you just go in and talk to this group? We prefer to remain anonymous. Ma'am,
Oh, yes, correct.
It's not lunchtime, and it's not lunchtime.
Ooh, that's true.
We
It's
came
not.
we came here before, and they were all gone.
Right.
Ma'am, we'd like to speak to someone here. Is there some place you'd like to speak to?
Right.
He's
Alright,
kept
then we
a
got
smaller
the phone.
newbie.
Right.
Dude, they're all gone again, it's not even lunchtime.
Well, it's because that's not true.
Oh, they closed all the windows.
Okay, then so it's just,
Cause I was filming them through the windows up here.
is there one in there?
Yes, I take it back. This is good, this what we, 100,000.
Correct.
See, they
me just try it. All right, I'm gonna try it. I'm not gonna answer. Yeah, I know, they got one right there and right there. Dude, I think this is proof the lawsuit is real. Okay, the lawsuit's real.
Yes, ma'am. We'd like to speak to some of the county attorneys.
Holy crap, wow.
They just told me over the phone that nobody was in the office.
Do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Mr. McGuire, and I was trespassed from the annex. I went this morning for my hearing for the appeal process, ma'am. And they told me there's no recording allowed in there, and he was gonna continue the,
Continuance later.
Okay, so you were trespassed by Anna, somebody.
Okay, I was the one that was trespassing. Yes, correct. He's talking about today, he went to his appeal from a different one, and I want to talk to you about the Anna Lopez thing.
I don't know what the result of that was, so what is your question?
I can't film him while he does his thing for the public.
I'm sure the magistrate gave you whatever his decision was.
He didn't do anything, he said I was gonna continue the meeting because
And
he
walked
didn't
out.
want anyone filming him.
Okay, so what's the question for me?
So do we have the right to film for that?
Yes.
That's up to the special magistrate.
I think that's up to the Supreme Court of Florida since that's what this is coming in.
I
And,
don't see that there's another question for me.
okay, how about Anna, okay, I'm Andy, reporter for Copwatch. I was illegally trespassed by Anna Lopez. I was here to appeal Monday, and I told the lady that that the trespass is illegal. So I spent all that time coming up here, took off work, and then I come to find out you guys already knew that it was rescinded on Sunday night, so I wasted my time. You
I
didn't,
did not know that.
it took a long time. Nobody made phone calls that day?
So what?
To-
I didn't
to-
know you were trespassed, nor did I know it was rescinded.
They talked to a
So
lot of...
it's rescinded now, so what's your question for me?
Well, the people doing it violated the law. Are you
I'm
gonna
not
charge?
commenting on that.
Okay.
And nobody ever contacted me to tell me it was rescinded.
Actually, correct. They never called him. Why is that?
You have to speak to the sheriff's office about that.
I tried yesterday at the candy thing. He didn't want to talk about it. This is a violation of the freedom of speech, the
Okay, you're just
Constitution.
making commentary. Is there a question for me?
Okay, why are you doing this? We have the right to record. Why is this all happening? And you guys are actually upholding it because you.
Listen, we have facility rules.
But their rules are not.
There's an ordinance in
They're,
place.
that's not.
If you violate
They.
it, you will be trespassed.
So your rules
I have a
violate the
question.
Constitution.
Address it
So
in
you're.
comment.
So it's above the Constitution.
Constitution. Why is it illegal to hold a sign in a public place in Charlotte County?
You have the facility rules, you can take a look at it.
So that
Have you
violates.
seen Cohen versus California or
Yes, I
Tinker
have.
or Tinker versus?
And you don't care? And you don't
So then why
care?
are you trespassing me for things that are constitutionally protected, man?
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Okay, here she is. Here she is.
I'm just getting a spy.
Yep, she got you, man. Got you.
Nick,
Brown shirt.
red shirt.
Brown shirt. That's true. Communist red shirt. Correct. This is the worst. County commissioners, you can't even you can't even see him. Oh crap! Thank you for holding it for us. Yes. Wow. You're being nice to us. Everybody else is being mean. You must not be a government worker, right?
Not today.
Okay. Well, you are a government worker? All right. There you go. Okay, what's your opinion there for freedom here or against it? It's kind of crazy. I got trespassed for doing a story at the polling place Saturday.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I said. Does that sound like America? Or no comment? All I was doing was recording. That's it.
Dude, he's on the phone. Yeah, let's go over there.
We can't. This is a public place. Why are we freaking out?
You're making everybody feel really uncomfortable. I feel
I feel uncomfortable that you're telling me you feel uncomfortable.
Man.
You're invading my space with cameras.
No,
Wow. Wow. I'm not interfering. We're trying to find out who Anna Lopez is. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Ma'am, I have every right to film in a public place.
We're not interfering. We can walk around here.
It's a public place. Did you?
Hey, she just hit him. I got it on video. Yes, I do. You just
I'd
did.
like to press charges.
You just did. I saw it.
I'd like to press charges.
All of you.
On. You did. We saw it. We got it on video.
Damn it, you guys are here.
I'm staying away, man.
Please, sir. Okay, guys.
It's on video.
I'm doing all this in the hallway. We can take this out. You guys handle your business upstairs. You can take this out.
Excuse me, sir, I'd like to report a crime of civil battery.
Take this out.
Can you file a report outside?
Of what? Battery?
Yes.
I'll review the cameras. No, I'm not doing that. You handled your business. It's time to go.
We can't stay
It's
here?
time to go. No, not impeding traffic. You're
I'm-
stopping. You're disrupting business. I've already discussed this with you.
I'm just documenting my public position.
So handle your business. It's time to go.
You're giving me like an off order.
Yes.
Wow.
I'll have to obey it. What's your name? Yes, you're gonna refuse to identify yourself.
Have it on any video.
I'll have to put that in my report to the sheriff's office.
That's fine. Fine.
What is it? Sterling? Yes, you can file an, yeah, it's more like
I don't have that.
dull brass. Wow. 3028.
Are you gonna process my report of simple battery, sir?
Sure.
I was in the hallway. The woman in blue approached me and punched me in the
Okay, we're
head.
not blocking the entry.
Correct. We actually got tons of video. We were welcoming the voters for, that they voted.
On the 5th floor at the attorney's
No, at another one. So we're not impeding anything anywhere.
At all.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
don't care what you're talking about, because that doesn't concern
Oh.
me. It doesn't concern me.
What is going on, Randy? Why, I can tell there's like a bad attitude.
Good day, guys.
He's very disrespectful.
The lady in the red shirt's making me very nervous.
I don't understand why I'm not allowed in a public place.
So he just violated the law.
You can leave, or it's about to go further. Who wants it first? We're not sitting here in the entryway blocking.
I'm not. They have a way through.
Out of the DMV, they can't get out.
I'm gonna sit next to Jehovah. I'm gonna sit next to Jehovah. Can I sit next to Jehovah? This is getting way out of hand. We're trying to prove that they're trying to take away our right to record in public. And I was illegally trespassed Saturday because I was at the library where they were voting, and they illegally trespassed me, all on a lie. So, yeah, it's really sad. I thought
Everybody's on the right side of the coin, it's all right.
right. We are on the right. We're fighting for freedom. We're fighting for freedom. Did you fight in the war? I'm fighting the war right now for freedom. That's good, right?
I feel free, but I know one thing, we get Andrew Gillum in there, the state.
Oh, so Gillum would be good or bad?
Gillum will destroy the state.
Right. But the good part is he said that he's against police brutality. I did like that.
No, he's against the police altogether, he's against ICE, he wants to.
Well,
ICE.
the founding fathers wouldn't like what's going on right now, right?
No, they wouldn't like what the Democrats are doing.
They wouldn't like what some of the Republicans are doing.
That's right, you gotta take whoever's unhinged, you need to
Right.
come out of there.
Right.
The Democrats are so unhinged.
Right. Correct.
I served 20 years, and the only one that's doing anything for veterans and the military is Trump.
There you
I
go.
say Nancy Pelosi.
All right, I gotta go all the way to South Punta Gorda. I wish I could go out to eat, but I can't. But dude, this is just getting nuts. I've never seen it like that. Do you agree? This is you got to do your channel. This is wow. All right, dude, I don't got time to eat. This is unreal, dude. Wow. Wow. Good to see you again. Unbelievable, man. This is stupid. Ugh. Disgusting. Hey, Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Copwatch. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.
If you're ready to proceed, I'd like to call Deputy Sterling to the stand.
Here, doing at the table. Raise your right hand, sir. Swear to tell the truth. Swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. I do. And now cease.
Thank you, Deputy Sterling. Could you give us your full name and position?
Randall Sterling. I'm a deputy first class, and I'm assigned to Murdoch Administration Building under the court system.
Okay. And how long have you been at Murdoch Administration?
A little over 4 years.
And what do your duties detail?
Primary duties are commissioners' meetings, public meetings. Aside from that, just maintaining security amongst the complex.
And are you familiar with the video that we just watched?
That was my first time seeing it.
Okay. How much of that video were you personally present for?
All of about 2 minutes of it, just not directly on camera.
Okay, what 2 minutes, if you don't mind?
About the first two.
Okay, first 2
The
minutes.
supervisor of elections.
I didn't see you in much of that video until the end. Where were you with respect to the film?
So they, I was behind, I come out of the side door, it's hard to explain. They went up in the elevator, I went behind them, and then I come in through the administration side around the back, and I was listening to the conversation with the county attorney. Once they went down, I went down behind them, and then you see me come out on the video. So behind closed doors, essentially.
Okay. And we've already established that Mr. Sheets was the one who filmed the video. Since you were not on the video, but you were adjacent, is there any additional details that are missing from the video that you could see from your perspective that weren't included in that video?
Especially in the latter part, when they're all in the foyer, there were people in every direction, with that being a centralized point to disperse traffic throughout the complex. There were people down the hallway that didn't want to come down, people outside the door that didn't want to come in, people in the DMV that wouldn't come outside. Our security guard, Rex, works for G4S, he's a contractor. He actually escorted some people out of the DMV because they were scared. They didn't know if it was a fight or what was going on in the foyer, just due to the confrontation. So there were people in many different directions that didn't want to approach because they didn't know what the situation was.
Okay, and were those individuals all county employees, or were they members of the public?
Both.
And the instance you just described with Rex from G4 Security, I didn't see anyone get escorted through the front door. Did they escort through another exit?
No, it was the front door.
Okay. At the conclusion of the meeting, as you were just describing, there was some discussion about containment and kind of cloak blocking access. From the video, it looks like you're standing at the doors blocking the access. Can you describe what we can't see on screen?
So, in regard to that, I am escorting them out of the door. They stop directly in front of it, so I'm limited to where I can go at that point. And another facility rule is that you can't block the entry or exit way, and you have to be within 25 feet of the door and not in the main thoroughfare. So they're still blocking there. I'm trying to ask them to move so that people can get in and out. So it's their actions that caused me to stop in the door, because I'm not going to walk in front of it and stand in between them with 2 of them to my back and 2 of them to my front, obviously for officer safety. What was the...
No, I think that explains what I was looking for. Did you observe, you said that this, you were discussing, and for the record, it's facility rule number 13, blocking access to county building, doorway, ramp, etc. At what point did you decide to get involved in the situation and to actually escort the gentleman out?
At the last point, they had already handled their business. They wanted to see the county attorney. She herself spoke to them. Their business was completed. They were standing in the foyer, and people were not coming in and out, and they couldn't complete their business and go about their way. So at that point, that's when I interjected myself.
Okay. And did you observe any other disruptive or harassing behavior that we didn't see on video?
Not that I'm thinking of at the moment.
Okay. And in your opinion, did the activities of Mr. Sheets interfere with the public and the county employees in the performance of their duties?
It did.
I have nothing additional.
Are you resting? Or are you still?
Deputy Stern, on November 1st, did anybody actually call you to come down to see what was going on?
I was made aware of it, yes.
Who made you aware?
Numerous people,
Okay, did they call you, or how were you contacted?
both.
Okay. But you don't know who called you?
Yeah, I was called by Rex Cruikshank, who's the G4S, Kim Sternal, the facilities manager, admin, administration office up on the 5th floor, called me. There's numerous calls.
Now, when you got down to the, everybody was down to the floor after they had been to the county attorney's office, you asked them to step outside?
Is that a question?
Yes.
Yes.
You asked them to step outside. Did they follow you to go to the door?
No, they were leading.
Okay, so you followed them. So you stopped at the door, correct?
I didn't ask them to leave, I told them to leave.
Okay. You told them to leave. They go to the door, and you stood in the door talking to them for a few minutes, based on what we saw in the video. Is that correct?
Telling them to move.
During that time, people also entered the building. There were 2 people that entered the building after you had left the front door, a guy in a blue shirt, and you came back, and then there was a guy in a red shirt. So did you observe 2 people entering the building on that video?
That was both after they moved further. It wasn't the initial blocking of the door. If you watch the video back, it was...
People were still coming and going based on what we're seeing on the video.
Well, you're missing about a minute's time of the video where they couldn't. That guy in the blue shirt was standing back waiting.
But he still entered the building. So
So
he
would
had to
you wait a
actually
minute
move
to-
around you, who was in the doorway, and not them.
Okay, I mean, I've already addressed that for officer safety. I'm not gonna walk in between them. And I'm
But
not
could you
gonna
have
lead them
walked-
out because I'm not leaving, they are.
Could you have walked outside? Because part of what was happening was a conversation, right? You're talking to them, and I know 3 of them were talking to you at kind of the same time, but Mr. Ian McGuire was having a conversation with you about possibly taking a report, correct?
Sure.
And you were saying that you didn't want to take the report, but you could have taken that conversation anywhere.
I'd already addressed that with him prior, so he was just repeating his actions like he always does.
However, Mr.
So
Sheets...
it wasn't a conversation.
However, Mr. Sheets actually went over and stepped away to, as he put it, go be by the Jehovah's Witness. So Mr. Sheets complied with those directions and didn't block the door. Is that what you witnessed on the video?
I don't know where everybody specifically was. They were all obviously in a group together.
And there were 4 of them there.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
with Mr. Sheets?
I am,
You've had other contacts with him?
yes,
And are you also familiar with Mr. Ian McGuire?
I am,
And you also know who he is? You've had other contacts with him as well?
yes.
Thank you. No more questions.
Witnesses excused. Just for the record, any more evidence or witnesses that the county intends to put on? Have this rested. We have one petition.
And I would like to call Andrew Sheets.
Raise your right hands. Swear or affirm the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Proceed.
Mr. Sheets, do you consider yourself a member of the press?
Yes.
Why do you consider yourself a member of the press?
Honestly, because we can, as stated with the Supreme Court case, that you can be a blogger and consider yourself a member of the press.
And you call yourself a blogger. What do you blog?
I do a lot of government corruption stories about the police, the sheriff, the government here, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and I do stories of corruption here and nationwide. And then I was doing a story that day.
So you
Objection. Your Honor, you've already ruled on the issue of the constitutional arguments in this case. We're
I
supposed
was
to
telling
be-
you why he was there.
Objection.
So do you consider yourself a reporter?
Yes,
So when you go someplace, do you often record?
absolutely.
And is that how you build your stories?
Yes.
Now, why were you at the Murdoch building on November 1st of 2018?
Because as stated in the video, I was doing a story on why I was illegally trespassed before at the library. And we didn't know if the lady worked there or Paul Stanless was there that heads up the election people to find out why I was illegally trespassed just for filming and doing a story in the election.
So as a quick background, you went to the library on election day.
Correct?
And at some point, were you trespassed from that library?
Correct.
And then was that trespass then rescinded?
Yes.
Because the person who trespassed you did not have the authority to trespass you?
Correct.
So that trespass...
Objection. Assume facts only. I have no idea what Ms. Anna Lopez is, what the authority is or anything else. He laid the foundation for why he was there.
Right, but he's discussing Anna Lopez in the video, so I'm trying to set the foundation as to why he's there and why he's asking what he's asking, to show that it is actually compliant with the business of why the building is open to the public.
So counsel, perhaps if you changed your question to what do you believe happened as opposed to evidence of what did or did not happen with respect to the other events that address the objection.
Understand. So the trespass was rescinded
Correct.
at some point. And did you get notice right away?
It took 4 days.
And during that time, you had to take time off work, I'm assuming?
Yes, I did.
And so was that your main reason for going to the Murdoch building?
Absolutely.
Was there any other reason for going to the Murdoch building?
No, that was the main reason to find out, you know, if she was there, and then since we had time to talk to the county attorney about why all this is happening. Why are we here today?
Who was the first person you spoke to when you got to the Murdoch building?
The first person I spoke to was the secretary, Paul Stanless' secretary of elections,
And why were you speaking to her?
to see if she knew who Anna Lopez was and if Paul Stanless was there.
And were you rude to her in any way?
I do not believe so.
Do you recall who else you spoke to on the first floor?
It was, I think, was it the lady with the gloves that came towards me? Yeah, I did not come towards her, she came towards me, I think she said something. And then I went on my way upstairs.
And when you got to the county attorney's office, were you specifically trying to speak to a lawyer in the office or anybody within the office?
Anybody within the office.
And you ended up speaking to the county attorney based on the video?
I was shocked, floored, correct.
Were you rude to her in any way?
I do not believe so.
Did she ever ask you to leave?
No, she did not.
Were you trying to harass her in any way?
No,
And were you trying to be disruptive to her?
no.
You went back down to the first floor. What happened when you got back down to the first floor?
I was shocked. There was a bunch of people there, like was stated on the video, you know, somebody else with the people that I was with said that they're calling the cops, and I didn't know what for. We didn't do anything wrong.
And were you approached by a woman in the blue gloves?
Yes.
What did she say to you?
What are you doing here? Why are you filming, I believe?
Do you have any idea who she is?
No, none.
Had you said anything to her?
No,
Had you done anything to her?
no,
Did you ever approach her at all?
no,
Did she ever ask you to leave?
no,
Did she ever ask you to stop recording?
no.
Are you aware if the Murdoch building is in fact a county building open to the public?
Yes,
And do you have a First Amendment right to record in public places?
absolutely.
What's the objection, Council?
Same issue, and this is not relevant to.
Calls for a legal conclusion. Objection sustained.
On November 1st of 2018, were you familiar with the facility rules?
Yes,
And in those rules, is there any type of ban against bringing a camera inside?
no,
Now, there was another woman in a red shirt who was a brunette. Did you ever approach her?
no,
Did you ever say anything to her?
no,
Did she ever ask you to leave or stop recording?
no,
At one point, one of the women said you were interfering. Were you trying to interfere with anyone?
no,
Were you trying to harass anyone?
no,
At some point, the officer then comes out and asks the four of you to leave. Did you comply?
I did.
Were you blocking the door?
I was not.
Was the officer blocking the door?
Yes, he was.
Were people able to get around the officer even though he was standing in the doorway?
Yes, as I saw, yes,
Now, did you record the entire time you were inside the Murdoch building?
yes,
And the video you watched, was that edited in any way?
no,
So was it an accurate representation of what happened?
absolutely.
I don't have any more questions.
Okay, witness is excused.
I
You
just
have a
have
cross?
a few. You indicated, according to Mr. Sheets, that you were there to speak with, or interview Ms. Anna Lopez, Supervisor of Elections.
Yes,
And the woman you spoke to at the supervisor's desk indicated she was not there.
correct.
How long did you go before you decided to speak with the county attorney's office?
How long were we at the desk?
Well, there's several minutes intervening where you're asking other people, the security desk, other people about Anna Lopez.
Right.
Where she is. You already had an answer. I'm asking you, were you seriously looking for Ms. Lopez at that
Yes.
point?
That's why I was there.
Okay. And after when you went up to speak with the county attorney's office, the film shows that you attempted to place your camera so they could see into the windows into the county attorney's office. Is that correct?
It's a body camera. I'm looking to see if anybody's in the office, to see if they're really gone. So that was not me taking my camera off. That's a body camera stuck on me.
So you were standing up against the windows trying to look
So
in?
I was trying to see if anybody was actually in the office, correct?
Would you agree that the inside of the county attorney's office is not a public area for filming?
It's a public building.
It is a public building, but is it open to the public?
It's a public building.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
You ready to direct?
No.
Okay. Witness is excused. You're excused.
Okay.
So, call your next.
We have no more witnesses, yes.
while it rests. We're going to have some closing argument.
Yes, the county has some closing arguments. With respect to Mr. Sheets' activities, Mr. Sheets came to the county administration building ostensibly to interview Ms. Anna Lopez and thereafter remained. As Councilor Mr. Sheets indicated, the county has no objection to filming in public buildings. There's no prohibition against filming in public buildings. However, in remaining, his activities did block passageways. He followed and harassed county employees. This harassment also involved some uncomfortable situations with the public. The recording of non-public officials, namely county custodial staff and members of the public. This disrupted county business. Again, the purpose of custodial staff is to clean up and manage the facilities. The security desk was, amongst Mr. Sheets and his associates, was blocked. It is open so that they can have line of sight, maintain security in the building. They were lingering there. They're not moving forward. And they were attempting to record behind the security desk. Although I will admit, Mr. Sheets did nothing in the video indicated that he attempted to do so. They attempted to record into the county attorney's office, which is a non-public area. It's the county's contention that Mr. Sheets' recording speaks for itself, and it shows, along with Deputy Sterling's testimony, that the appellant acted in a manner which disrupted at least county facility rules number 9 and number 13, pursuant to the ordinance in question.
Do I have a copy of those rules?
You do have a copy in Exhibit A. You can find near the end before the trespass order.
A. What are you pointing to, Council?
It will be, we're going to say facility rules on the first page, look like this. The second page has a list of prohibited conduct. Rule number 9, and rule number 13.
Just a minute, hold on. Okay, rule number 9, yes.
And rule number 13.
Rule number 9 is disruptive, harassing, or unsafe behavior, including conduct which intentionally interferes with employees in the performance of their duties or intentionally interferes with the proper use of the county facilities. And 13, blocking access to any county building, doorway, walk, ramp, road, parking access, or steps for any purpose without authorization. Okay?
We believe the video and Deputy Sterling's testimony meet the county's burden of proof, and we ask you to sustain the order.
Let me ask you a couple of questions about this. Doesn't look like number 13 has a time specification. Is it the county's position that 2 seconds, 5 seconds, any blocking is sufficient to meet this?
It's the county's position that it was sufficient blocking based on Deputy Sterling's observations of members of the public trying to pass through, that he had to give repeated orders for them to move, that it was sufficient for meeting rule number 13.
All right, well, let's go back to number 9. We have disruptive, harassing, unsafe behavior, and intentional interference. And which of these things were you saying?
The trespass order cites specifically harassing behavior, disruptive, harassing behavior, interfering with employees in public access. And that should also be in Exhibit A.
So unsafe behavior is not an issue?
Correct.
All right, anything else?
Nothing else.
Commissioner Mason.
Yes, ma'am.
On November 1st, Mr. Sheets went in to inquire about Ms. Lopez and a prior trespass issue that had resolved. The 4 people that went in had cameras. The conversation at the first window was fine. They got their information from each other, no problem. They then headed upstairs, and they talked to the county attorney. And when they came back down, everybody was literally sitting in that lobby area waiting for them. They did not engage them, especially Mr. Sheets, and it was the employees that actually interfered with Mr. Sheets. At one point, he told the lady, "I'm not coming near you," because she was coming at him in an aggressive manner. One of the other ladies said, "You're putting those cameras in my face." So she was obviously upset about the cameras, but he has a right to have the camera there. Nobody asked him to leave.
He wouldn't have a right to get into their personal space though with this camera, would he?
No, but he wasn't doing that. You can clearly see he wasn't, putting his camera up anywhere near them. In fact, if you watch the video, it seems like they're more upset by Mr. McGuire. Mr. Sheets has a body cam on. The other two gentlemen had the bigger cameras. That it seems that if you watch the video, most of the aggression is actually towards Mr. McGuire, and you have to remember that we're only looking at Mr. Sheets here today, not Mr. McGuire or the other two gentlemen who were not trespassed. So as far as disruptive behavior, he was never disruptive with anyone. Nobody asked him to leave. He didn't harass anyone. He certainly wasn't unsafe, but we all agree on that. And he certainly didn't intentionally interfere. As far as the blocking issue goes, he wasn't blocking the door. Mr. McGuire in the red shirt and Deputy Sterling were having a conversation. It was Sterling in the doorway. I understand Deputy Sterling was saying, well, I had to stand there, but he could have also gone outside to have that conversation. It was his choice to stand there in the doorway. Other people did go in and out during that exchange. Two men did. So the doorway was not blocked. If you look further through these rules, there is a failure to leave the premises, but once they were asked to leave, he did. If you look at 15, it says failure to cease conduct specifically prohibited in items 1 through 13 above, immediately after a request by county staff to do so. Nobody from that county requested that they leave until Deputy Sterling. Nobody requested that they stop filming. So my argument is, because they were never given a chance to stop what behavior was objected to, the trespass should not apply. It would be one thing if the woman said, "Please put your camera down, you're making me uncomfortable," or "Please don't record me, I'm uncomfortable." But instead, she got very aggressive. Anybody could have told him to leave at any time. Nobody did. So there's another argument that, but it's just an argument, that there's retaliation going on here because of what happened with the library incident versus what then happened at the Murdoch building.
I don't know that that has been noticed for this hearing, counsel.
Understood. I'm done, please.
Okay, all right. Anything else? I think I prepared the issue ruling, but I would like to look at the video one more time because it was quick. It's once, it's the only time I've seen it. I don't know if there's a way for me to do that privately. I'm happy to do it here in the open later.
Your Honor, the ordinance actually contemplates that you have 7 days to reserve time and consider the evidence to make a ruling.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to give you a ruling right now. But I do want to look at this. I want to look at this one more time. So is that all right with everybody if we do that? I would just do this back in chambers, and this is easier. I won't have to clear the room. Well,
Is that what's on? Might have to call him. If you have the sign in. You have to have the sign in.
Yeah,
You can watch it on my laptop if you want.
I'm gonna take a chance that this has a USB drive. Okay, perhaps we skip a step.
Was it Fort Myers?
Yeah, yeah. And that's what it is here.
Do you have to have internet for the USB? You should.
I have a stick phone that says it's on battery.
This is the exhibit you gave me.
Antelope warehouse? Yeah, that's a good question. What do you have a warehouse for all the equipment? All right, where's the warehouse then? Oh, dude, this is crazy. Okay, Airport Road and what? Perfect. You guys got all day, I don't, but there you go. Man.
I don't know about driving on Airport Road, but I mean, I'd like to see her, apparently she has a lot of library.
Yes. Right. Right. Do you want to show her the picture? You didn't see the video?
Oh, yes, we're trying to identify several boundaries.
We're trying to identify some of the pool workers that illegally were telling us that we could afford. You know, if we show you so you wouldn't. Oh, so if we show you a picture, you must, you can see if you know any of them? Yeah, that guy. Is that why you're wearing a little pink pants? What's okay? Deputy does what and has what power? So you cannot inside the room where the machines are. You can't go in. Correct, and we know that. We didn't do that. All right, so wait. Okay, all right, I'll do a sunshine law request. Let's get the lawyers up. Okay, how about fifth floor? Let's try. Yeah. Is she calling the cops? We're lost. You know who she is? Yeah, she but it's because that's not true. Okay, then so it's just. I was filming it right now. Correct. Oh, you just tried. All right, I'm gonna. Yeah, I know, they got one right there and right there. Dude, I think this is proof the lawsuit is real. Okay, the lawsuit is real. Holy crap, wow. They just told me over the phone that nobody was in the office. Continuance later. Okay, I was the one that was trespassing. Yes, correct. He's talking about today he went to his appeal from a different one. And I want to talk to you about the antelope pest thing. And locked out. So do we have the right to film that? And, okay, I'm Andy, reporter for Copwatch. I was illegally trespassed by antelope as I was here to appeal one day, and I told the lady that that the trespass is illegal, and so I spent all that time coming here, took off work, and then I come to find out you guys already knew that it was rescinded on Sunday night, so I wasted my time. It took a long time. Nobody made phone calls that day. They talked a lot of well, the people doing it violated the law. Are you gonna charge? Okay. Actually, correct. They never called him. Why is that? I tried yesterday at the candy thing. He didn't want to talk about it. This is a violation of the freedom of speech, the Constitution. Where? Okay, why are you doing this? We have the right to record. Why is this all happening? And you guys are actually upholding it because you. But their rules are not. That's not. So your rules violate the Constitution. So it's above the Constitution. I was illegally trespassed Saturday because I was at the library where they were rolling, and they illegally trespassed me all on the line.
Okay, let's go back up. All right, so I'm going to deliver my ruling on the easy ones first. With respect to blocking the access, there is insufficient evidence that Mr. Sheets himself blocked the access. I'm not discounting the testimony of the officer that somebody was blocking the entrance based on the testimony and evidence. I did not find that Mr. Sheets was blocking. I think we've all agreed that, turning to number 9, that unsafe behavior is not an issue. Conduct which intentionally interferes with employees in the performance of their duties or intentionally interferes with the proper use of county facilities, I do not find sufficient evidence of intent. With respect to harassment or harassing behavior, although it's a close one, I think that in order for it to rise to harassment, there has to be a request that you stop and that you then continue. And usually it requires multiple counts. One is if you do something and the person says, please don't do that anymore, that's not harassment. Kind of like, this is America, 3 times, 3 strikes, you're out. Now it's risen to the level of harassment, so that I don't find that the behavior was harassing. Now, as to the issue of disruption, what I saw was distasteful, upsetting, rude, uncivil, not the way people should be conducting themselves. It looked as though it was provocative. It looked to me as though it was not designed to get information, but rather to incite. I find that to be very, very troubling. However, this is still America. Uncivil behavior, no matter how much we may not like it, no matter how much we may detest it, no matter how uncivil somebody wants to be, it's not a crime, and it's not something that we prohibit. It's part of the cost of doing business. Now, what is the antidote for that kind of behavior or that kind of speech? It's, as Mr. Jefferson said, it's good speech and it's good behavior. There was a lot of good behavior here. The county attorney was on good behavior. The officer did exactly what he should have done under the situation. He asked them to leave. He asked them to move on. And from what I saw, at least with respect to Mr. Sheets, he did immediately start moving. Now, from what I saw, the officer was de-escalating and he was asking people to move along. If Mr. Sheets had not moved along, if Mr. Sheets had not followed the officers, now, I did have to ask him a couple of times, which shouldn't be necessary, but that's kind of part of the job. It just is. So at least in the case of Mr. Sheets, there was some evidence presented by the officer that there were people who were dissuaded from doing county business, particularly back there at the end. I did see some people who were walking by. They were not here, they did not testify. I really can't guess at their intentions. I just can't. So I don't know what those people were or were not, was in their minds. It was very close that Mr. Sheets and his, he is the only one who was at issue in this hearing, was done with his business. It's not fun being a county official sometimes when you have people who engage in that kind of behavior, but my opinion, it did not rise to the level of being disruptive because he ultimately complied with the police officer. So that's my ruling. I would ask that Mr. Sheets' counsel prepare an order for me to review based on my oral ruling. And with that, this hearing is adjourned.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Copwatch. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.